What happens if you break a binding vow in Jujutsu Kaisen? Shout out to Quinn for asking. They basically said, do we have any idea what happens if a binding vow with another person is broken? The thought of what could happen alone scared Kenjaku so greatly he actually honored the deal. Now the short answer, no, but let's get into it a little deeper. Now I do understand that a lot of fans think that binding vows are just lazy writing and ass pulls, but let's look at what they really are. So binding vows are considered by all Jujutsu users to be one of the essential tenets of Jujutsu sorcery. Binding vows are essentially contracts that an individual can make with oneself or another person. The act of abiding by the rules and restrictions agreed upon in these contracts can result in a great power or the achievement of a goal. But breaking a binding vow has uncanny repercussions. Now this is said by Kenjaku. He says a binding vow made with another person is a whole different beast than a binding vow imposed on oneself. One of the differences is that the penalty is unknown. When breaking a binding vow with oneself, the worst that can happen is losing what is gained. And even early on in the manga, Sukuna and Yuji make that binding vow the Enchain. And Yuji doesn't trust him, and Sukuna says, what if I promise I won't kill or hurt anybody during that minute? Will that do it? And Yuji's like I'd believe you, and Sukuna's kind of like, man, this guy knows nothing. And he explains to Yuji, it doesn't matter if you believe me or not, this is a binding vow. I'm the one who will be punished if I break it. So like I said earlier, we just do not know what happens if you break a binding vow with somebody else. But we do know that it is severe enough that Kenjaku and Sukuna are like, hey, this is a binding vow. I will be punished if I break it. And I wish I could say that Kenjaku, since he lived for over 1,000 years, would have seen this and known what the penalty was. But when he told Mahito, he said that penalty is unknown. But essentially, that's all we know. Peace.